Hey everyone, Tech OG here, representing those who are 40 and up who love their tech. And I've had my Galaxy Z Flip 5G for about 2 weeks and want to talk to you about my experience with it so far. First thing I want to talk about is the form factor of this phone. I mean, I really like that it folds. The fold design it's just great. Because when you fold it up and I put it in my little harness, it kind of looks like a little beeper. So from back in the 80s. So it's got the Motorola Razr design going on. Plus, like I said, the beeper. And if they had the display right here, that would have been kind of dope. But anyway, form factor is great. And even though when you flip it, it is kind of thick. I mean, the thickness of it is a little bit lighter or thicker than the Note 20 Ultra. So even when it's, like I said, like this, it doesn't feel that fat. So it doesn't feel cumbersome on the hands. And when you flip it open, my goodness, this form factor is incredible. It's really thin and really narrow. So when you're holding it with your hands, it feels really, really good. And one thing that I have advocated for a lot of phones, always buy a case, especially for expensive phones. But for this phone right here, and probably for most phones, I do prefer no case. And let me take it off. Oh, there we go. So having it with no case, look how deliciously thin this phone is. And it feels really, really good. It feels like there's nothing at all in your hand. So it feels really good. Opening up, like it just feels fantastic. It's not too wide where you need big hands to hold your phone. And the fingerprint reader being on the side, it just opens up really, really quickly. So I really like the form factor. I like the thinness. I like the narrowness of this phone. And for those who said there's bezels, these things right here are rubber, and it protects basically protects the screen when you close it up to get that satisfying sound when you close it. So these rubber things around are definitely needed. They're not bezels. They're just there to protect the phone. Open it up. There's no bezels from the top to the bottom. And if there are bezels, they're extremely thin. So you get a lot of real estate when looking at the screen of your phone. The next thing I want to talk about is the function of the phone. And basically going through this phone like any phone that I would have, because the phone I had before this was the iPhone XS, and before that was the Note 9, which I really, really loved. But I had to trade that in to get this, especially at the price that I got it, because $1,400 for this? No. Trade in a phone for it? Yes. So anyway, as far as functions, it functions like any other phone. So going through surfing the web, I got Nova Launcher on here, so I got all my apps in one spot. Still trying to get used to this Osmo Pocket, so excuse the quirkiness of the video, but it'll get better over time. Like I said, I got everything right here. Going through it, it just still feels like any other phone, so there's nothing special about this phone as far as the function. I mean, yes, it has the Snapdragon 865 Plus processor, same processor as a Note 20 Ultra. So you're getting the best performance out of any phone that's on the market, because this has the best Snapdragon. So, I mean, the zippiness is great. I mean, it does not have 120 hertz, but who cares about that? I really don't care. When I'm playing my games and surfing the web, I don't see a lot of blur. It's just very snappy. So, as far as the function, there's nothing to cry home to mom about. It functions like any other phone. So, to say get this over any other phone, can't really say that unless you have a really old phone and you really need the zippiness of today's phones, or for some of the apps that you may use on your phone, which I'll talk about in a second. But as far as just a function, you can do the same thing on any other phone. Any other phone can take pictures, record video, surf the web, check out media, things like that. It's just a phone. So as far as functions, don't get this just because you can just get yourself an older phone and still have the same functions of any other smartphone. But like I said, because of the Snapdragon 865 Plus, there's a couple of emulators that I use. One in particular, the Citra emulator that plays 3DS games. That runs fantastically well on here. I mean, a lot of games that I couldn't play in my Note 9 because that had a Snapdragon 845 processor, they run on here. So I'm now playing Pokemon X. I haven't played that ever. Now I'm playing it on here, and I'm enjoying the heck out of it. Like I said, because of the form factor and trying to find the perfect controller for this phone, which I kind of did. So this one I'm going to talk about in a future video. This particular controller is pretty old, but this fits the Z Flip quite well. So using this with the physical buttons, playing Pokemon and any other game for that matter, is just fantastic. So it just works great. The advantage of having this phone over any other phone, and there's only two things that I can say that this phone has an advantage over. One, the flip design. You can't do this with a Note. You can't do this with an iPhone. You can't do this with any other phone except for the Z Fold or the Z Fold 2. So as far as the flip, or unless you have the Huawei Mate X, if you can order that, or if you're going to get the Surface Duo, the Microsoft Surface Duo, which I won't get, and I'll talk about why in a future video. But this, like I said, the form factor, the flip design, that's one advantage that you can have. Fits great in your pocket or on a harness on your hip. And the second feature or advantage is the narrowness. This phone, I mean, I told you before, the iPhone 5S was iPhone's greatest phone. It was great in the hands. It was narrow. It was small, but the screen was large enough to navigate and use apps and view media. But as far as large phones, this phone right here, the narrowness just feels so much better than the XS that I had, because that was thicker. And even the Note 9 was a little bit wider and a tiny bit thicker than this one. The narrowness of this phone just makes it feel really, really good in the hands. And those are the two advantages that this phone has over any other phone that I've owned. As far as disadvantages for this phone, one big disadvantage that I do not like that Samsung omitted from this phone, there's no SD card reader. I don't care what people say, because I heard in one video from a YouTuber, Samsung took a poll. And yes, it's true that most people don't use all of the allocated space on the phone. So if there's 128 gigabytes on the phone, yes, it's true people don't use it. However, because of 4K video, it's needed. So yeah, 128 gigabytes, that should be standard on the phone, but they should have not gotten rid of the SD card reader that usually goes on the tray of the SIM card. Reason why, let's say if you're a heavy YouTuber and you make a lot of videos on your phone, you need as much space as possible to record your video. You'll be limited if you only have 128 gigabytes. Even 256, even though that's a pretty good number, you still may need more, or you may save your videos, instead of trashing them so that you can re-edit or whatever. So having all that extra space is good. By them getting rid of that SD card reader, it's terrible. So you sometimes need a peripheral to get your extra storage. And this is not cool because, yes, it goes on the bottom. Yes, I can give it extra space. But what if I accidentally slide it like this, or accidentally break it? Accidentally take the tip and break it in the inside? That's a cost to repair that I don't want to do. They should have just kept that in the phone. Period. Without any polls or anything. They probably did it to help cut costs, but that was a bad move, Samsung. Next flip or the next Fold, get the SD card reader, put it back in the phone, please, especially for me. And the second disadvantage for this phone, it's not really a big disadvantage, but for those of you who play emulators and games on your phone, again, finding a controller is difficult. And the controllers that I truly like are the telescopic ones, the ones where the phone goes inside of the controller. Most controllers can stretch only up to 6.5 inches. This is 6.7 inches, and so a lot of controllers that I own, this phone does not fit. So that's why I had to find, and I'm still looking, even though this right here is my second best, no, actually it's my third best controller. And like I said, I'll do a video on controllers very soon. This is the best right now because of the harness, fits right in, it's still light on the hands, and you can charge it while it's, on the holder while you're playing. So that's the best part about this controller right here. But as far as the telescopic ones, you just can't do it unless you try to meander the phone into it, and you might break your controller, or you might damage your phone. So that's probably not the best idea. Best idea is to search and look for the best controller that will work with your Z Flip or Z Flip 5G. Like I said, I'll do a video soon on controllers, because I got one on order that's gonna be coming in about a month, because it's coming from China. But it's well worth it. It's worth every penny that I pay for it. But anyway, that is my take on the Z Flip right now, or my Z Flip 5G. I really enjoy this phone. I mean, I wish it had an S Pen, but I'm going to talk about peripherals, because I do have, I'm trying to look for it in my bag over here. I do have a peripheral to write on my screen, and I'll talk about that in a future video on accessories for this phone. There's not a lot of accessories, but I have a couple that might pique your interest. So that is my take on the Z Flip. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave that thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Tell your friends about my channel, and I hope to see you in my next video.